Congratulations to Mandy Summers, Peter Gilmore, and the gang at Wart the Wizard. That is a Comicsgate success story. So I read Ant-Man 3, and as you can see by the cover, it is, get in there, it is beautifully done. Truly her cup of overflow. And then as you get past the cover and you turn the page, you just jump right into this. It's his nagging daughter/child bride substitute who scowls and whines throughout the whole comic. Of course, Ant-Man is an ineffectual, cutesy, bitchy little twat because he is Ant-Man. And I understand that the kid is part of the lore, but can't you just put her as a cute tertiary character? Bring in a hot piece of ass for a secondary character. Then put a Liberty device to the artist's head and tell him to draw everyone beautiful and sexy. Every scene where a character is eating results in a dozen lashes for everyone involved with the comic, including the readers. They deserve it for supporting this crap. Their motto should be, cool characters doing kick-ass stuff. And no, fighting the patriarchy is not kick-ass. Unless you set your comic in Bumfuckistan and fight against an actual patriarchy that introduces women to high-velocity geology lessons and gay men to lessons in applied physics. The comic is called Ant-Man. That means the title character needs to be worthy of the title. Good-looking, heroic, confident, dominant, and doing kick-ass stuff. Comics aren't rocket science. But unfortunately for him, he is blonde, and in comic terms, that is practically a Nazi, who for some reason are hated more than the commies, though I don't understand why. So, being a blonde, he has to either be evil or completely and totally incompetent. Gee, look who the bad guys are. Again, I bet you didn't see that coming. It's Nazi B-Man, because something that happened 80 years ago is relevant today. So they make him retarded, basically, and demasculate him as much as possible. He is the titular character, and he is shown to be the most incompetent character there. So why is the customer paying $4 for this misandrous anti-blonde propaganda? I think comic writers seem to forget that this is a capitalist business. The customer has to want the product. You can't force them to buy the product. So I looked up the guy who wrote this, Zeb Wells. I guess that's Zebuchadnezzar Wells. And it all makes sense if you want to DuckDuckGo his image search his face. The dude clearly has a lot of unresolved anger issues with beautiful people, or just not people who aren't hideously ugly. I've often said that the way you look colors your perspective on life. The reason Antifa look the way they do is no coincidence. Comic book people and Antifa are the kids picked last for sports. They never dated, or in the case of Mark Waid types, usually paid for sex. They are usually fat, ugly, deeply unhappy people who resent the normal people who appear beautiful to them, even if they're really mediocre. They are adults who never grew out of the negative Nancy phase of childhood. Every day they wake up with sand in their vagina. And as a result, they are the worst people to write and edit comics. You're probably saying to yourself, aren't you childish and petty in attacking their looks and shitty personalities? Yes I am. But their looks really do affect their perspectives. If these people started eating less and walking around the block, their total outlook on life would change. Why do you think EVS and Mike are always on their period? Because they're tired and cranky from being so out of shape. If either one of them had to walk up 2 flights of stairs, I think they'd have heart attacks. Which they're both headed for anyway. Maybe they will kiss and make up before they stroke out and meet the man downstairs. Repent while you still can, fatties. So Ant-Man 3. The premise is that Ant-Man is an idiot who is shown up and talked down to by everyone around him. This is not how you write heroic characters. You don't have to put people down to build people up, which is something the SJWs in mainstream comics are totally incapable of understanding that concept. Or maybe they don't understand it, and this is all by design and not merely negligence. His daughter, and everyone thinks he's an idiot, his only value to his daughter is that Catwoman is attracted to him, and Spider-Man acts like a jealous 12-year-old. Turn the tables. If the daughter only found value in her mother because she was sexually attractive to a man, how do you think that would go over? If they didn't have double standards, they wouldn't have any standards at all. A parent's value to a child is not how sexually desirable they are to the opposite sex. This is a child's view of the world. It's like a kid being jealous of his friend's dad who still rides his bike when his dad sold his when he had kids. It's a hard decision, but it's the mature decision. A dead dad can't care for his kids. This storyline destroys the father figure, which Marvel is totally on board with. Comics are mostly propaganda to them. The lesson could have been the daughter learns that her father knows best, and that what other people think of her father is irrelevant. The family is the most important, and the father is a hierarchy, and the family is a hierarchy with the father at the top. But the soy pussy's goal is to destroy all of that and replace it with an artificial family substitute of a group of diversity hires, because diversity is our strength, except when it isn't. You will see how this theme repeats itself in woke media. It's a Marxist trope to destroy the family with the goal of getting the people of the light to have fewer babies. That's why the elites in Europe and America open the door to third world immigration with high birth rates. They don't give a shit about the carbon footprint. They only care about the genocide of European people. And yes, I know how tinfoil hat this sounds. Believe me, I'm not a crazy person. To try to relate globalism, comics, and the rising racism against the blonde people of Uggs and Starbucks. But the writers and editors are pro-genocidal commies who understand the math of demographics. Birth rates of different groups are literally the only thing that matters to a nation's future. There is so much more going on with comics than what you see on a surface-level approach. The people who write, edit, and control comics are either bloodthirsty socialists or moderates who will stand by when they send you to the gulags. Zach danced around these issues and focused on bad comics, not why the people were writing them. The Fourth Age, who has a very, very good channel, but he is, I think he's too smart for YouTube. He very carefully explains it. Anyway, mainstream comics suck sweaty balls, and I'm glad that Comicsgate offers an alternative. Clean genitals for you to put in your mouth, so to speak. Okay, so they fight the MacGuffin, and he's sort of starting to redeem his character, but then the daughter saves the day, because the 12-year-old saves the day. And then they flirt a little bit, and they establish that the only value the father has in her daughter's eyes is being object of sexual affection to a stranger, not in being, competent, intelligent father. And Spider-Man acts like a 12-year-old boy. It turns out that having your father cause Spider-Man to be jealous is pretty cool after all. And you think, at a first blush, you think, oh, they kind of redeemed his character. But then you start to think about, wait. They didn't redeem his character by having him do redeeming acts or having the daughter focus on anything important about, how important the father is to the family structure, or how important it is to obey and respect your parents, any of that. Because those are so old-fashioned, those concepts that have built successful societies for tens of thousands of years, respecting your ancestors, that sort of thing. No, the point of the story is that another man was jealous of your father, and the daughter kind of runs the wears the pants in the family, so to speak. That's the whole point of the story. So at anything more than a surface level analysis, you look at this and you think there's something deeply wrong with comics and the people who write comics. I did go to DuckDuckGo and I image searched his name, and I was going to end the video with that. It's just too petty to do that. It's just, I made my point. The way you look, I mean, you know that. I mean, even kids know that. They know that certain kids have a different perspective on life than other kids. That's just the way it goes. So I'll end it with this. Congratulations to the Breitweisers for making a really an amazing accomplishment. I know a lot of people are angry with the way they did it. And, you know, nobody's perfect. Like, you can have allies in situations, and they're not going to be perfect. And someone said on Twitter, they use CG as a stepping stone. Well, so what's wrong with that? They use Comicsgate as a stepping stone to jump into Walmart and jump into the mainstream. I don't have a problem with that. They didn't exactly use us. I guess they used the backers because the project was delayed for so long, and it was delayed for too long, and that's not a good thing. But it's not as bad a thing as you think. I mean, late campaigns are pretty common, and should they have been more upfront? I don't know how much they knew, how much they had in plan. I mean, it's not, I mean, what did you expect them to do? If they had this opportunity, did you expect them to say, okay, well, we're going to complete Red Rooster in a year, get it out there, and we're going to lose the opportunity to get our comic books in Walmart? No, you can't ask somebody to do that. So the consequence is, yes, the comics are late. You're getting them late, and you probably have some more bad feelings about the comics. But they did get, I mean, you got to make the correct business decision. And it's not exactly an immoral or unethical decision to make the backers wait a little bit. EVS did it, and you guys all forgave him, and a lot of other backers did it too. It's not, I mean, like I said, it's not just, nothing's perfect. Everything's a shade of gray. So, where was I going with that? I tried to walk through a landmine with that. My only consolation is not many people get to the end of these videos. Anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe. If you want to send me email or art for the channel or whatever, you want to design a t-shirt that I will probably be the only one to buy, Bianca Zombie 682 at gmail.com, or hit me up and send the stuff to my P.O. box. If you want to send me a comic, you want to send me a script review. I like reviewing scripts and editing them. It's a lot of fun, even though it's kind of makes for a boring technical video to edit grammatical issues, but it's a fun. I feel like a small deity, a small low-powered god. Anyway, guys, I'll see you on the next episode.